No.
We are not.
Well, okay. Madam President, I am happy to report this morning that the leadership of both parties have finalized the organizing resolution for the Senate. We will pass the resolution through the Senate today, which means that committees can promptly set up and get to work with Democrats holding the gavels. For the information of the Senate, the Democratic caucus has announced its committee memberships for the next 2 years. I'm confident our members are ready to hit the ground running on the most important issues that face our country. Senate Democrats are not going to waste any time taking on the biggest challenges facing our country and our planet. I've already instructed the incoming Democratic chairs of all relevant committees to begin holding hearings on the climate crisis in preparation for enacting President Biden's Build Back Better agenda, which includes major climate legislation. It's long past time for the Senate to take a leading role in combating the existential threat of our time, climate. As we all know, climate change touches virtually every aspect of our economy and involves virtually every aspect of public policy. So as the Biden administration prepares a whole-of-government approach to combating climate change, the Democratic majority will pursue a whole-of-Senate approach as well. Some of this work has already started. 2 years ago, Senate Democrats established the first-ever Senate Special Committee on the Climate Crisis. I promise that any action we take on infrastructure in particular will prioritize green infrastructure and the creation of green jobs, and create many jobs, good-paying jobs, we will. Personally, I have introduced legislation to speed our country's transition towards clean cars that has the support of the environmental community, the labor unions, and some of the car manufacturers. Make no mistake, in several different ways, this Democratic majority will compel the Senate to forcefully relent and urgently address climate change, beginning with work in all of the relevant committees. So as we set up new committee structures, I look forward to working with the new Democratic chairs on ways their committees will address the climate crisis. I look forward to speaking with my colleagues on the other side of the aisle about finding some common ground on this issue. And most importantly, I look forward to propelling this chamber into action on a crisis that concerns not only all of our futures, but the futures of our children and our grandchildren. It's our solemn obligation to leave behind a planet upon which future generations can grow and prosper. Now on COVID. Yesterday afternoon, the Senate took the first step in preparing a rescue package for an economy and a country that is still in the throes of crisis. The $1.9 trillion budget resolution is designed to meet the needs of a country that has been devastated by disease and recession for nearly a year. It's been such a long time. We need real help. Unlike most crises, which affect one particular sector of the economy or another, one part of the country or another, the COVID-19 pandemic affects the entire country and nearly every aspect of American life. There is not one person in America, in my judgment, whose life hasn't been significantly changed by this awful crisis. The challenges we must overcome are manifold. So we must produce a bill that addresses each of those changes and challenges in turn: housing and agriculture and education, help for the unemployed, small business, our healthcare systems, our state and local governments. And we cannot fall short of the needs in each of those areas. History has taught us hard lessons about the cost of small thinking during times of big challenge, and about the cost of delay during moments of great urgency. Secretary Yellen told the Democratic caucus yesterday that it is her belief that if Congress fails to dedicate the necessary resources to meet the needs of the American people and survive this crisis, we will see long-term scarring in our economy, and our country would be mired in the COVID crisis for years. The income inequality and wealth inequality that plagues our nation and has been exacerbated by this crisis, because it's certainly the lower half of the American people who have suffered the most, needs to be remediated, and that's what we aim to do. We must not repeat the mistakes of the past and do too little, too reluctantly, and too late. We will not repeat the mistakes of the past. Our goal is simple: to help the American people and the American economy, and do it fast. Over the next 2 days, the Senate will be in session for debate on the budget resolution. There will be an open bipartisan amendment process. We invite participation from both sides of the aisle in that process. But I urge members not to lose sight of what this legislation will mean for the American people, for Americans who have lost their jobs through no fault of their own. This rescue package will extend enhanced unemployment benefits. For parents, I've spoken to so many who are desperate for the day they can send their children back to school safely. This rescue package will include resources for schools to make that happen quicker. For teachers and firefighters and bus drivers and nurses worried about the fate of their jobs, this rescue package will follow through on providing aid for state and local governments. For restaurants and bars, for theaters and farmers, for small businesses of every stripe, this rescue package will make another round of federal loans and grants available to you. And for every American struggling to make ends meet, who month by month has fallen further behind on the rent or the mortgage, who has had the power or the heat or the water shut off, for every American who has had to choose which meal they were going to skip that day, this rescue package will send direct assistance in the form of a check. And of course, this rescue package will support the production and distribution of the vaccine. That is the key to ending the crisis. The past administration, in terms of distribution, in terms of working with the states to get these vaccines out, has been so derelict. It's been one of the greatest failures of any presidency. The new Biden administration is focused on getting making more vaccines, getting them out quickly, getting them out fairly, doing it effectively and efficiently. We have to help get that done. So I, alongside the Democratic committee chairs responsible for drafting this legislation, will be meeting with President Biden at the White House today in a few hours from now. Our caucus is eager to discuss next steps, and we are united in our resolve to deliver on a rescue plan that provides the American people the relief they so desperately need. I yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.